Police continue to investigate two incidents that occurred in the early morning hours of Wednesday, March 20th, 2013 in southwest Calgary. Approximately 4 a.m., police were called to reports of a single vehicle collision in the area of 12th Avenue and 1st Street Southwest. Upon arriving at the scene, officers found an abandoned white Cadillac with significant body damage. There were no witnesses at the scene, and police are still trying to determine the events that led up to this incident. Also at approximately 4 a.m., police received a call advising them of a woman laying in the road in the area of 15th Avenue and 15th Street Southwest. Police and EMS responded to the scene where the woman was confirmed deceased. The Calgary Police Service is now able to confirm these two incidents are not connected. The single vehicle collision is being investigated by the traffic section, and the deceased woman investigation is being conducted by the homicide unit. In relation to the traffic investigation, one man has been interviewed, and police are still seeking witnesses in relation to this incident. In relation to the deceased woman, an autopsy was conducted by the Chief Medical Examiner's Office yesterday. The victim has been identified as Paulina Kazanceva, 19 of Toronto. She died as a result of blunt force trauma. Police are trying to establish why Ms. Kazanceva was in Calgary, what she was doing in the area where she was found deceased, and what she was doing in the hours that led up to her death. I'll now take your questions.
So there haven't been charges laid yet against the driver of the Cadillac?
I checked with the traffic unit. They're following up with that investigation, and charges haven't been laid at this point. We were concerned at the time of the investigation, one, because of the time of that accident, the location of the accident, and the fact the vehicle was white. There was a vehicle that was parked close to the victim's body that had white paint transfer. We've now determined that that is old damage. We did interview an individual who identified himself as the driver, and we're satisfied with his story. He was not involved. We did also do an examination of the vehicle and made the decision that I was not involved in this incident.
Can you say what happened to her?
What I can tell you is that she died as a result of blunt force trauma. That is the cause of death. We're still in the early stages of this investigation. I can tell you that she's only been in Calgary for approximately a week. She's visiting here. We're still trying to determine why she was in Calgary, who she's been associating with, and why she was in that area.
Were you able to determine if she was able to get work here in the last week or so? Had she started a job anywhere?
We have talked to several of her friends and her family. However, because this is an early investigation, I'm unable to provide you with that information at this time.
When you say blunt force trauma, is that believed maybe another vehicle hit her, a different vehicle? Or
at this point, we're working with the traffic unit. We're trying to determine the events that led up to the death. We're keeping an open mind and looking at all possibilities. So we do know the cause of death is blunt force trauma. We're now trying to establish the manner of death.
But that is one of the things that you're looking at, is potentially...
We're keeping an open mind and we're looking at all possibilities.
It was pretty early in the morning when this happened. Any idea what she was doing out at that time of the morning?
That is one of the things we're trying to determine, what she was doing in that area prior to her body being found.
But you do know that obviously somebody did this to her, like it was a homicide.
What I can tell you, we're treating the death as suspicious at this point. She has died of, or did die of blunt force trauma. We're trying to determine the events that led up to her body being found.
So categorically, you can say that the two incidents are definitely not connected.
They're definitely not connected, no.
So you believe that she died there, or maybe was she dumped there? Like, any idea if you can... I know it's early.
Yeah, it's early in the investigation, and we're keeping an open mind, but we're trying to determine the events that led up to her death. We're encouraging anybody who may have information to contact the Calgary Police Service.
Can you say...
We have gone through the area and conducted neighborhood inquiries and also obtained CCTV video. We're now in the process of analyzing that information to see what we can get to further our investigation. But there's a lot of information we do have. That's going to take some time to go through it.
Was she involved in anything, like drugs?
High-risk lifestyle.
We're trying to determine what she was doing in Calgary, the events that led up to her death, who she was associating with, and why she was in that area at the time of her death.
Is the Toronto police involved at all?
We have contacted the Toronto Police, and they assisted us with locating family and identifying the victim.
Is there any chance that CPS is going to release either a photo or video of her? I mean, if you're still looking to put together this timeline of where she was.
We're keeping an open mind right now. That is a possibility as we further this investigation, but I can't definitely say we'll do that at this point.
Did her family know she was in Calgary?
Yes, they did.
So she was visiting whoever she was visiting. Was she not with them early that morning or that night? She was just out on her own?
At this point, we're early in the investigation. We're trying to determine the events that led up to her death. So we're keeping an open mind at this point, looking at all possibilities.
Has the cab driver that put the call in been of any more assistance at all?
Yes, he has. He has been interviewed. He drove by the scene, noticed the victim on the ground, called into police, and went over and checked on the victim.
Was she here visiting people, or was she here?
She was here visiting.
Visiting friends? Like, do you know who
She was just in Calgary visiting at this point. We're still trying to determine the events and why she was in Calgary.
But did you track down anyone that she was with here?
We have talked to a number of people, and we're trying to confirm the information that we have.
Was she found with any ID on her? Was she robbed, or did she have identification?
We're still trying to determine the events that led up to her death.
But sorry, just one more thing. For definite, it's not something where she fell down to her head. There's definitely somebody else was involved. Is that correct? Or is that?
At this point, all I can tell you is that we're early in this investigation, and we're trying to determine the events that led up to her body being discovered.
Did she live in the part of town that she was found in?
No, she did not.
Was she staying in a hotel or a friend's house?
She was living in Calgary, or staying in Calgary. As to that information, just to protect the integrity of the investigation, I can't provide that information at this time.
Wasn't she planning, though, to make a life here, like to make the move from Toronto here?
We're still trying to confirm the details that we have. Again, we're early in this investigation. We do have a lot of information, but our job is also to substantiate and confirm that information.
So would you say that she was visiting here then, or that
She was
just
visiting
moved
here. I don't think she planned on staying here, but she was just visiting.
Can you say, so the other vehicle, it had a smashed windshield, that one?
I believe the windshield, and I'm speculating at this point because I didn't go to the scene, but I believe the damage to the windshield was caused by the deployment of the airbags, which does happen on occasion. There was no damage on the vehicle that was consistent that would tie it into the scene where the body was.
Why did the guy leave the scene? Why did he leave his car?
I can't speculate on that.
He didn't say?
I can't speculate.
Are there charges? I know it's not related to the death, but are there charges related to that driver?
Yeah, the traffic unit is following up that investigation, and they will be laying the appropriate charges.
Did that driver see her on the road?
We don't believe that driver was anywhere near the scene that we're investigating. It's a total separate incident. The reason we looked at it in the initial stages was because of the timing, because of the location. It wasn't that far from our scene, and the color of the vehicle. But we've managed to eliminate
So he didn't even
all
know
those
that she
possibilities.
was there lying a few blocks away or whatever?
No.
So when will charges be laid against him? I mean,
That's up to the traffic unit to follow up. It's been turned over to them now, and they'll conduct their investigation and then lay the appropriate charges.
So far not considered a homicide?
It's considered suspicious at this time, and we're in the process of determining the events that led up to her body being found. We do know that she died of blunt force trauma, which is the cause of death. We now have to establish the manner of death.
Thank you.